are back with another episode with Real Talk with JT, episode number 12. And today I have someone who I do look up to, guys, like this, because you know why? I did see his journey. I see him from the beginning and I know where he is now. And let me tell you, he's done a lot of things right. He really took his business to the next level. He runs the number one team in Maryland, and he is so much energy that he can be selling it on Amazon. PG Phil Gerdes with the Gerdes Team, my brother. Thank you for being here.
Definitely, you're welcome, man, and thank you for having me. I love you. I'm excited about this. I know we're gonna dive deep. We're gonna go in. So I'm ready. Let's go.
You better buckle up for this one because there's gonna be so many great things coming your way. Start taking notes. So, Phil,
Yes.
before we jump into real estate, man, who is Phil? What makes you you? What do you do besides selling real estate, man?
A lot. So, just besides we're obviously business, right? My wife and I have several companies, and whether it's consulting and coaching, or it's speaking or construction and whatever, we've got businesses, but really it's family and friends. I find that I'm a serial entrepreneur. I love progress. I love success. I love creating. And I'm an artist. So it all just jives. I coach sports and, two kids, 14-year-old son, 11-year-old daughter. My daughter will be 12 next month. So I'm just navigating what it is to be a dad and a husband. Yeah.
That is so great, man. And I mean, how do you do everything? Because the most of the agents, they struggle just like doing some sales and running their business. Yet you are husband, you are father, you are coach. I know you run the media, you run the real estate company, you do investments. Like, how do you do everything?
Just one phrase I coined some time ago, and it is where you are, there you are. I realized a long time ago that if I wanted to become the person that I had in my mind, that I couldn't be everywhere for everyone all the time. So what I could do is I could be in one particular place with every part of my mind and my heart. So I coined this phrase, where you are, there you are. So I do my absolute best. And so, I mean, we all falter, right? But I do my absolute best to be hyper focused on the single activity that I'm participating in. And what I found is I'm able to give a better part of me to that activity or to that person or to myself when I'm not thinking about 50 different things at once. I'm just saying, Phil, where you are, there you are. You are in this moment. So be in this moment, because the truth is it's never coming back. Like we could get on 100 more of these podcasts, but we'll never do a first one together ever again. This is a single milestone for you and I, and no matter what, we'll never get it back. So let's just be hyper focused in this moment. And I look at everything that way.
So let me ask you this, and this is so good. I think if we end the podcast right now, like we did our job, but don't worry, guys, we keep on rolling. Were you always like this, or was there like a pivotal moment in your life which makes you realize like that you have to be more present in that moment to really get that thing out of it?
Yeah. I've had a lot of game changer moments in my life. Like the story, I could write a couple books on how the turns, but I feel like all of us could, right? We all have these magical moments. And the issue is that, at least I see it as, a lot of us we either don't recognize the magical moment for what it can be, or we focus on the negative. Because I noticed that a lot of the magical moments, they can start with negative. In 2011, I almost died twice. And I was sick for about 8.5 months. And I remember calling my mother and telling her, hey, we're going to start planning my funeral. I remember kissing my kids goodbye instead of goodnight. It's just, I learned in that time that if I'm going to be here, I better be here. I better be hyper present, because, you asked me, hey, Phil, how you doing? I'm doing great, man. Why? Well, because option 2 sucks. Like I didn't have to wake up this morning.
Mm.
This was a gift. So if it's a gift, I better treat it like one. I better treat it with the enthusiasm and the excitement and the resolve that a 7-year-old little boy is going to have on Christmas morning when he opens up a present and finds it's the exact thing that he wanted. It's that new bike he's been hoping and asking Santa for. That's how we, in my opinion, should aim to treat every day. It doesn't always work that way. You know, we're human, we're adults, and we can get punched in the face a couple times. But just to remember, dude, you could have not been here to be punched in the face. That's the one piece of advice I always remind myself of. Yeah, that sucked, but I could have not been here to receive, you know?
I love it, man. So breakdown to breakthrough. So how does it stay on top of your mind? Because I know a lot of people go through things, but they kind of forget, and then they go back to the old habits and old stories.
I don't forget. I know it sounds crazy, and like, how is that possible? How could he not forget? I don't forget. Period. I don't. I love Kobe Bryant did an interview and he just said it's non-negotiable. Like that's me. It's really been me for so long. I don't remember it not being me. When I say this is what I want to do or this is what I want to accomplish, that is all. It's not if this happens, I will accomplish this. It is I am going to. It's this idea, right? You might be stronger than me, you might be faster than me, you might be better than me, but you'll never beat me on a treadmill. And the reason is because one of two things are going to happen. You're going to get off or I'm going to die. That's how I treat everything. When I make that commitment to that challenge and that task, especially for myself, dude, most of the time we'll commit to other people more than we'll commit to ourselves. So especially when I commit to myself, I'm in. It doesn't matter. I am 100% non-negotiable going to accomplish the task I set out to accomplish, or I'm going to die. And I look at it that way.
So Kobe Bryant, he said, I don't negotiate with myself.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what do you consume every day to keep the mind sharp like that?
Everything. So I have a morning routine. It never fails. 7 days a week. I always do the same morning routine. I wake up. I'm usually up before anyone in my house. And when I wake up, I go and I walk down to the second floor of my house. The third floor is all my primary suite. So I walk down to the second floor of my house and I overlook the first level. And I look at my great room and I look through and I see to the kitchen and I just take that in. And I just show appreciation for that. Now, sometimes I'm traveling, so I'm not able to do that part, but I'll just sit in silence with myself and show appreciation for everything around me and the fact that I had the opportunity to travel. From there, I go make my coffee. It's funny because I just posted this on my Instagram, my morning routine this morning. I don't know why I did, but I did. So after that, I go and I have my coffee in silence usually. And then I do 10 minutes of social media like time. This is where I take 10 minutes and I just go on other people's content and I like and I post and I share and et cetera, et cetera. And then from there, it's all about learning. I'll just take however much more time I have and I'll learn something new. Yesterday, I learned about lawnmowers. I don't care what it is. I want to learn something new every single day. And I'll be honest with you, some days I forget it within an hour. And some days I never forget what I learned. But the key is I want to stay sharp and I want to stay able to communicate on multiple levels with multiple different types of people. So I need to know everything I can know all the time. And look, I love learning. So it's easier for me because I truly enjoy finding out something new about something new.
What do you like about learning, Phil?
No one can take it from you. It's yours. Like that's an amazing concept. Like as soon as I learn this, it is mine and I can do with it whatever I want. And no matter how much, like you might not like me, but you can't take it. You might love me, but you can't take it. You might hurt me, but you can't take it. This is mine now. And then the best part about it is actually the double-edged sword, because once you learn something new, since it's yours and since you know it, what are you going to do with it? That's like, you can't ever say, I didn't know anymore. You can no longer say, well, man, I just didn't know that, so that's why I didn't do it. The truth is now you know, and the reason you didn't do it is because you're not committed. So it forces me to say, do I want to be strong or do I want to be weak? Do I want to be committed or do I not? Like, who do I truly want to be? And I have the tools to become that person. So, Phil, go become that person.
This is so good. This is
Yeah.
so good. So, guys, this is live. If you guys can hear us, if you like us, give us thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
If you don't like it, give us thumbs down too, right? Like we good with that, right? I think we learning from our mistakes, right? This is the other thing. Like, are you learning from your mistakes, and do you love those failures? Because I know a lot of people, they try to avoid those,
Yeah.
and they never had really the real opportunity to discover themselves, to really take it to the next level.
Yeah. Look, you're the idea that you're not going to fail is just a total pipe dream. So let's just understand that right now and accept it as reality. Like, you're gonna fail. So stop running from it. I'm gonna say run towards it. If you know you are going to fail, run towards the failure, because along the way, you're gonna learn so much about yourself, about the process, about who you need to become, about what you need to release, right? And get rid of, that now you've turned into some amazing form of yourself. I was in a conversation with an agent this morning about, and just, what is that? My phone is ringing through my computer. So I was just having a conversation with an agent about this topic this morning, about just saying, look, if I know what's going to happen, let's go. Let's just make it a reality. I have no issue with failure. And the other part of that is, I don't care if other people have an issue with me and failure. Like, if you want to judge me because I failed, so be it. Judge me because I failed. I'm not perfect. I accept that. But if you're going to become successful, you got to get used to split testing. And I understand that. Like, I got to do one over here and one over here, find out what works and what doesn't, stop doing what doesn't, and start running with what does. So that means I got to go through failure.
So, guys, for those of you joining, we are here with a rock star, absolute rock star, Phil Gerdes from Maryland. Okay. So, Phil, before we go into it, tell us a little bit more. Where were you 20 years ago?
20 years ago. Geez. So 21.
It's a long time ago, right?
I was poor. I mean it. I was poor. I lived in half of a one-car garage. I could never pay my rent. I could never pay my car payment. They came just about every 3 months to repo my car. I was a different person in a different life, and I was confused. Yeah.
So how different the Phil is, the today's Phil from the one from 20 years ago? Like, what are some of the, I think, the standards or habits or disciplines you have now which you didn't have before?
Yeah. I had hair back then on my head, not just my face. So, on a serious level, all of it. Now, when I say all of it, you said standards and habits and disciplines. All of that is different, because I had really no strong standards. I mean, I had morals, but I didn't have strong standards to which I chose to live by. I didn't have strong habits that I said are non-negotiable. I just didn't have these things. I didn't have these outlines for what I believed my life should be, and what I believed I needed to do in order to earn the life that I believed I deserved. I just was kind of like, you ever go through a time or know someone going through a time where they're just going, like, I'm just coasting through life, and that's what I was doing. But today it is so different. Every action I take is so darn intentional. I don't even know how to not be intentional anymore. It all connects. I talk about, with my team, I talk a lot about stacking trainings. I stack my life. Every action that I take stacks on the next action, as best as I can possibly make that a reality. So I'm just a I am the opposite of who I was. I really am. And when I look back, you say 20 years, it feels like forever, but it feels like a short time also.
Are you kind of like maybe not running away from the old Phil, but
Yeah.
looking
Yes.
at him and being like, you know what, I will never ever be that
Yeah.
guy again?
110%. Yes, I am. I'm not ashamed to say it. I am running as hard and as fast as I can from that person. And you are right. I will never be that person again. And look, it's not even for me. You know, the idea is, well, Phil, why not? Like, Phil, I know you like having the security, and you could say it's about toys and money and things like that. It's not. Let me tell you why. It's because when my wife said I do, she committed to the growth that I promised her. When my kids came into the planet, they didn't ask for anything, including to be born. I have an obligation to never go back there. I have an obligation to never go backwards. I have an obligation to, no matter what, do my absolute best for the people that I love the most in life. And that might be from, going out and making a bunch of money, but also, how about just going out and setting a great example? Because that's so much more important than the money to me, right? It's how do I become and be and just do my best? No one's going to be perfect. So be okay with the fact, like we said, you're going to fail. You're going to mess a lot up, a lot. But how do I just say, look, no matter what, I'm going to do my absolute best as often as I possibly can do my absolute best. And when you build a life around that idea, it changes everything. It really, really does. So I feel like I am obligated to do my best and be my best and create my best.
That is so awesome, man. Now I'll give you another one. What do you feel like right now? And I know you said you changed completely,
Mhm.
but what do you feel like it's your kryptonite right now?
Time. I am acutely aware of time, and what I mean is I'm acutely aware of the idea that time is running out. I get it. I do. I get that. I always tell my wife, no parent wakes up in the morning, kisses their kid, and says, "Today's the day you get kidnapped. See you later." Like, no one knows. No one knows today is the day you're going to get in a car accident. No one knows. I am acutely aware that today could be it. This moment, it sounds morbid, but this could be the last conversation I have with the person, you and I right now. And because of that, I got to constantly remind myself, what do you want this moment to be? Who do you want to speak to? How do you want to connect? I put something up on my Instagram the other day, and it was something to the likes of, speaking. I had just finished speaking on stage, and I was watching other speakers. And I wrote something like, speaking is not about having someone come up to you and say, "Oh man, you did a great job." Speaking is about having someone come up to you a year later and saying, "Hey, a year ago, you were on stage and you said something that I took to heart, and it changed my life forever." That's what it's about. It's about, who do you want to serve in every moment you can possibly serve. And for the person that says, "Yeah, Phil, that sounds nice, this hyper esoterical approach to life," not only does it sound nice, but it feels nice. It feels good to say, how do I be a servant first? Everything else works out. I have come to find that when I stop thinking just about me, I do think about me. But when I stop thinking just about me and I start asking, how can I serve the people around me? My life is better. My life is just so much better. So time, that is my kryptonite, understanding that time is running out. But at the same time, having enough time, like in a day, to do it all, because my mind is always racing. So because my mind is always racing, I always want to do more and more and more. So time.
So, I mean, Phil, with the time, how do you keep yourself organized and prioritize that you can really, maximize that time?
Yeah. So systems, obviously, number one. And then, to be completely honest with you, great people. I've got some great people around me that remind me and coach me, and they serve. I don't even know if they realize it's a form of service to me, but I receive it that way, where they're keeping me on task and keeping me on schedule and keeping me on track. And then I love a to-do list. Some people don't, some people do. I love a to-do list. So I have my core items that I'm going to accomplish every single day. And then my schedule. My schedule is key. I live and die by my schedule. My kids have access to the schedule. They have access to my business schedule, my personal schedule, and then we have a family schedule. Like, the schedule is key. So between the schedule and focus and the people around me, everything kind of works. But I had to make a lot of mistakes in order to figure out what works for me. But I figured it out. That's the best part of what works for me.
And I think also the key is really being brutally honest with yourself, even though it might not feel,
Yeah.
as good, right? It might not make you look as good. But if you really don't care about, how you've been perceived or how you feel about it, because you are so focused on really maximizing the thing and not holding back.
Yep.
And I feel like you're not really holding back anything, because you're like, this is it. I mean, let me go all out.
Yeah.
Right.
This is me. I can't change it, and I wouldn't if I could. This is me.
That's so good. So let's talk about real estate. So what year did you get into real estate, and how did you stumble upon it?
2017, I started as a real estate agent. Now, back in the day, 05, 06, somewhere around there, I owned a mortgage company. I owned two for 5 years in Florida, but then I left real estate altogether. I actually got into direct sales for 10 years, and then I sold my business, and I just retired. I checked out. I was 35, and I just said, okay, I'm done. I'm going to chill. I got into real estate because of my wife. She had a talk with me, and it was, she hit me with the whole, you're always home. Maybe you should find something to do.
Playing Xbox all the time, eating, watching movies.
Yeah. So, and then it was her idea. She said, I think I want to get my real estate license. Now, at the time, my wife, she's got the college degree. I don't. She's done all this amazing stuff, but she had been 10 years as a stay-at-home mom. So, she said, I want to get back to the workforce, and decided she wanted to get a real estate license. And I just jumped on her bandwagon, to be honest with you. The one caveat that I had was, I said, if we're going to do this, we're not going to be real estate agents. I said, we're going to be business owners in real estate. And that's a very different approach. It's because one makes you an employee, and one makes you a business owner. And that is what I've always been. I've worked 1 year as an adult in a traditional job where I didn't have to kill what I ate. I started my first company, I was 17 years old, so I just, business is what I know. So I got involved in 2017 as a real estate agent, and I never looked back.
How many homes did you guys sold in your first year?
38.
Wow.
First year. Yeah.
Not bad for the first year, right?
Not bad for my first year, no. So just under 300,000 in GCI and about 12 million in volume.
Sweet. And what are you tracking now today, 2023?
Oh, we should do about 300. About 300 this year. We should do about 100. Our goal is 125 million in volume. We're actually tracking about 147 million in volume right now. 208 are projected right now to be listings, which we are listing dominant. So I like that number. Yeah. So we're working. I got
So I mean, that's easy 10x in how many years?
This is the start of year 7 for us. So yeah,
that's bananas.
Yeah, it's been great.
That's pretty incredible.
This is also the start of year 4 as a team, because in Maryland you got to be a solo agent for 3 years before you're allowed to start a team. So our team, we're starting year 4.
Wow, yeah. That's incredible. Now, what do you give? I know you special, right? But what were some of the lessons along the way which you feel like it really gets you to the 300 so fast?
Focus on listings. Don't fall into the trap of what everyone else is doing. Find your lane and just run. Put your head down and run. There's always going to be another cool thing that pops up. That doesn't have to be your thing because everybody else is talking about it. Just run. And then, I'm big on social, but I'm thinking about actually having an event. I sent a text to my marketing manager, and we had a conversation. Like, we should have an event called the not so influencer, because I feel like we're in this world right now, and it's easy to fall in this trap where it's like, be this social media influencer, but you're not selling any homes. What are you doing? Like, that doesn't make any sense. So the trap I would steer clear from, and I really committed to when I got started and went heavy on social, was, yes, I'm going to do social, but I'm always going to have the proof to back it up. So if you're not producing, stop pretending you're producing and get out and produce. And then I would also say, just be okay with the fact, especially if you're a team leader, people are going to leave you. Be okay with it. It's hard. I get it. It hurts. It really does. I was in a meeting with a bunch of really successful team leaders. Like I look up to these folks. Like they're game changing team leaders. And this topic came up, and everyone said the same. We pour into people, and then eventually some of them leave. And when they do, it actually hurts. It's a hard pill to swallow, but just get okay with that. Get comfortable with it. Understand it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Now, what would you suggest to some of the agents, brand new agents, maybe a year or two in the business? Like, what would be some of the basic things for them to do to really make it, and not only make it, but really make it on a higher level in this business?
Yeah, number one, join a team. I just can't stress it enough. People say, "Well, you're a team leader, so of course you're going to say that." No, I'm telling you, the average person needs to be on a team. You should do 5+ years on a team to learn how to really develop this, but not just a team that's great in training, a team that's great in marketing, a team that's great in negotiating, a team that's all about transferring skills from the team to the agents, that's hyper supportive. Learn your craft and learn it from people that are already killing your craft, right? The next tip would be identify what your hustle pillar is going to be and double down, triple down, quadruple down on it. A hustle pillar is a pillar of business to where you do the work and the business comes to you. In other words, if you want to attack expired listings, that's a hustle pillar. You make the calls, you get great at it, you get listing appointments, you got listings, right? Open houses, that's a hustle pillar. Door knocking, equity reviews, so on and so forth. Those are hustle pillars. So identify your hustle pillar, one or two, and attack like crazy. And the third would be journal your journey. I say this over and over again. I think people think it's a joke. It's not. Journal your journey. Let people know what you're doing. Look, the reality is, reality television is the biggest form of television there is right now, and it has been for some time. People want to see your everyday, your real life. Now, here's not what I'm not going to say. I'm not going to say don't go put the just listed, just sold, under contract pictures up, because I have tons of them. And when I hear people say don't do that, it blows my mind. Why not? Why not celebrate that? But what we need to understand is they're not saying don't do it. They're saying don't let that be all you do. So when I say journal the journey, what I'm saying is you're going on a listing appointment, get on social and talk about it. You failed at that listing appointment. You didn't get the listing. Get on social and talk about it. You're having a bad day, a good day, an in-between day, get on social and talk about it. Let people see your every day in this business, because people to follow you. They want to be a fan on your journey, but you got to let them see it every single day.
And it's tough sometimes for a lot of people just to be willing to be vulnerable and let people see those setbacks, because they might think if people see those setbacks, they might look at us as weak, as incapable, and yet it's probably the opposite, because now they can connect with you and say, oh my god, he's a human being just like me.
Yes. And there's the saying, I'm sure you've heard it, it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. And that's the way I look at it, right? It's better to be vulnerable and open, but when you're asked to do the job, you're a skilled tactician, right? It's like, I'm not going to win every time, but let me explain to you, when I do win, all that I do for my clients, how I serve my clients, how they then win, right? So just be open, be truthful, be vulnerable, and accept the fact that you're going to sing your successes from a mountaintop, but you also need to share your failures from that same mountaintop.
So good. So good. So, Phil, I know you say transferring the skill, right? And I know we went from a moment to market really into skill-based market. Like, what do you guys do differently on your team that you really stand out and you help these folks to really get the right tools in your toolbox so they can go and get it?
I truly believe, and this is no dig to any other team in our markets, but I truly believe there is not another real estate team or brokerage in our market that trains as much as we do. I would argue that people are flat out tired of how much training we provide. I mean it. Like, we are constantly providing training. And the idea is this: there's always something new to learn. And there's even if you're not learning something new, there's always opportunity to grow your current skill level. So what we do different is we are consistently offering opportunities. Now they're not mandatory. You don't want to participate, you don't. But we are consistently offering weekly, offering opportunities for people to say, I want to learn about that. So I'm going to plug in. And it's not just how to sell a house. I mean, last week we did a training and it was on finances, because they don't teach real estate agents how to retire.
Yeah, that's a whole, and I mean we can do a podcast just on that, right?
Exactly. We did an entire one, I think it was 1.5 hour training on just finances, how to get your finances under control. And I showed the team a foolproof system that works. You just got to work it, but it works. So it's training. I think that's the biggest bonus that I would say that the training we offer our team, most people couldn't afford to pay for over the course of a year. It's so extensive.
So good. I mean, iron sharpens iron. How good you guys are on like disciplines, accountability, and I know that's something which a lot of agents, they're like, did you say accountability?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no. Hey, I'm an independent contractor. Well, consistency is important, right? So how do you guys work on your team that accountability, just to make sure that the agents do what they got to do to really hit their goals and eventually get better along the way?
So I was having a conversation with a different agent this morning about this. Just do what you say you're going to do. A lot of times when we think about accountability, we say, who am I accountable to? But we never answer that with myself. It is so easy to change our mind when we only tell ourselves. That means we don't have control over ourselves. I would say the number one person you should be accountable to is you. There should be no one that you tell you're going to accomplish something that word means more to you than when you tell yourself. That is the first level of accountability. So I see a lot of times people say, well, Phil, I need an accountability partner. Well, it's funny. You have one. They're sitting in the mirror and they'll always show up. Just go to the mirror, say you're going to do something, and then commit to doing what you said you were going to do to you, for you, because you said so. But we got to get stronger in our belief in ourselves.
Yeah. And I feel like sometimes we just don't spend enough time with ourselves.
Yeah.
To really understand ourselves, to get it that, hey, all what I need, it's right here with me all the time, right? It's me versus me always.
Yeah.
So good. Now, Phil, where do you see yourself in the next 10 years? Get me inspired.
Retired. I got 8 more years left, man. I'm going to be 42 on June 14th. My commitment is to run in this game until I'm 50. After I'm 50, I've got 2 approaches. Number one, I'm either going to go into politics, and that's going to be 100% my wife's decision. My wife has ran to the beat of my drum for 17 years. So she will be the determining factor. I'm either getting into politics or I'm going to travel, speak, and write books. And that's it. But I am done when I'm 50. It's an 8 more year process. I've got it all laid out. I know how I'm getting there. I know what I need to do in order to be there. So yeah, 50 years old, one of 2 routes. It's up to her.
That's awesome. What about the team? Are you going to shut down the doors, or is it going to be running pretty much on autopilot?
Yeah. So autopilot, 2 approaches. Either we sell the entire company, or we sit on the board with the company. Certain team members, whether they're staff and or agents, will be in control of the business, and they will also have ownership stake in the business, and we will be just board members.
So good. Well,
I'm running a business, man. I told you.
Yes. Hey, it's all about reaching those points and just being the right vehicle to really get you there, right?
Yeah.
You're not selling homes because you love homes, you love people.
Hey, I love service. I really do. And if I can find a way to serve, then that's what I'm going to do. This has been a great journey of service for me. But in the end, like, there's got to come an end. I don't want to be a 90-year-old real estate agent. I just don't. That's not in I wasn't a 10-year-old, and they were like, so what do you want to be when you're 90? And I said, a real estate agent. What I want to be when I'm 90 is burnt to a crisp because I've been on the beach all day. That's what I want to be when I'm 90. So, yeah.
What was your, what were some of the biggest lessons in your life you feel like on this journey?
Before or during real estate?
Before and during, like overall in your whole lifetime?
Um, it's okay to be lost because you can't find yourself if you're not lost first. And I think that I grew up much of my life lost, not really knowing where I fit in, how I fit in, what I fit in, and just coming to terms with the fact that is just totally okay. But once you identify you're lost, don't sit there and freaking complain about it. Go find yourself. And there's nothing that prevents you from finding yourself except for you. Well, Phil, I don't have money. Hitchhike, right? Like go travel the world and just walk, because that's what people did before they had cars. Like don't make excuses for yourself. Instead, make opportunities for yourself. And I had to do that. I had to just, I moved back. I'm from New York originally. I grew up in Maryland, but after school, I moved back to New York. I needed to find who I was supposed to be. And it was hard. I remember I don't think anyone knows this, but when I drove to New York, it was a 4.5-hour drive. I'd say 2 hours, I bawled my eyes out. Just the whole drive, first 2 hours, I just bawled my eyes out. And it's just, I was so damn lost and confused and I didn't know. But what I did know was I wasn't going to find myself if I didn't trust myself. If I didn't trust and say, you know what, this is my path, this is my journey, it's okay to be lost. Probably another lesson is, just figure out what you believe in and be okay with that. I have had a lot of people tell me what I can't do and what I won't do. And it was a long time. I was in my 30s. I remember having a conversation with my wife saying, look, no more. Like I was in my 30s when I finally said, I'm just not going to live on anybody else's terms anymore. I'm going to do me. I love me. You love me. There's nothing else to talk about. Like we're good. Now let's go attack the world. And then the last one I would give you is understanding that there was always a one. No, there's actually one more I'll give you too, but understanding there's always a one, meaning there's always a first. My mother and father, first generation US. My wife's parents, first generation US. There's always someone that changed everything. So I can complain that I don't have what that family has, or I can go create what I want, whether it's what that family has or what they don't. I don't care, but I can go create it. I'm a creator. So that's what I chose to do. And the last tip I would say, and I really figured this one out not too long ago. It was sometime after I had kids, but the lesson was someone's got to kill the bug. And someone's got to kill the bug. What that means is when you were home and you saw a bug, you called your parents and one of your parents killed the bug. Well, you're the parent now. When you say, Phil, I don't have kids, it's not what I mean. I mean, you are in charge of your life. So someone has to take charge of your life. Someone's got to kill the bug. So I can keep waiting for someone to come up and save me, or I can be the person that saves me. And I just committed to being that person.
Yeah, no one's coming.
Yeah, man.
Sorry, guys, no one's coming.
No one's coming. Yeah.
So. I mean, Phil, I just wanna, switch the pages over here a little bit. Do you read? Do you listen to books a lot? I know you said self-education. What is one of your favorite books when it comes to mindset?
I got a lot. I love audiobooks. I don't like reading books. I love audiobooks. So I would say The Alchemist by Paulo Coelho is one of my favorite books ever. I just absolutely love that book. I've listened to it I've listened to it over 20 plus times. I get into it and I feel like I hear something new every time I listen to it and I apply. I love the book Pound the Stone by Joshua Medcalf. I love The Richest Man in Babylon by George S. Clason. There's a lot of books I love, man. I love listening to, I love learning. So naturally I'm going to love books, right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah. I mean, and something about learning or reading books, right? It's like someone spent their whole lifetime writing that book, and you can literally like hijack his life
Yeah, man.
and put it here and just become better. It's just incredible.
It's a lifetime of content for free. For free. Like when you scale, I spent $20 on this book, but look what I gained from it. It's basically free. It's a cheat code. Every book is just a cheat code to life. I
Yeah,
love it. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, like Warren Buffett said, readers are leaders,
Yeah.
right? And I feel like a lot of leaders, they don't read as much for self-education.
Mhm.
So good.
Yep.
Now, Phil, if you could be a superhero, who would you be?
I already am. You know me as Superman. My family knows me as Kal-El, son of Jor-El from the planet Krypton. I am Superman. There, I said it live with you right now. Yeah, that's it. It's under here. I don't want to show you because it's not an emergency. I only use my powers during emergencies. But yeah, the suit's under there and everything. So
I love that. And with that said, like what is the superpower you have? What do you feel like makes you you
um,
and no one can compare to you with that?
so I think one of my superpowers that I truly actually appreciate is my ability to see the inner world. You know how there's people that, like as kids, they would take things apart and then put them back together, and they ended up being an engineer, right? Ever since I was a kid, I could look at a business or a system, and just from a short period of time of watching it, I could say, well, if they did this, this would change, and then that would change, and it would create this, and if it created this, this would be the yield. I remember being a kid and asking my mother, hey, do you think you get the manager to the restaurant? And why? Because I want to tell them about something they could adjust in the restaurant that would help them make more money. It's just how my brain has always worked. So I think one of my superpowers is just understanding how processes work and how they can work better. And then also always reading between the lines. The English language is beautiful, but within that language is an entirely separate language that if you learn how to work and you learn how to really use, you can grow so much and you can benefit so much from it. But you just need to really understand exactly what that language is within the language. So processes, systems, break down, and build up.
Yeah, and that's the skills that you really need to build a legit business,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, absolutely.
Now, on your team, in your company, what do you feel like you guys doing differently than the other teams in the marketplace, which makes you special?
For client, you mean?
Yeah.
Marketing. Marketing. I think that we are so top of mind. We are so aggressive with marketing. We believe so much in putting, like, my perspective is every time we get a listing, I want to somehow turn that listing into a celebrity. And I want to think about this, like people line up to get autographs and pictures and selfies from celebrities. How can we create that for this house? And then the other side of it is empathy. Understanding that this might be the 1,000th home we sell, but it is the one home they're selling. And being truly empathetic to, yes, you know that, but they don't, or they might not. And taking the time to have the conversations and communicate and truly understand where someone is coming from and not put the dollar in front of the purpose. The money cannot be what's most important. Not if you want to thrive and grow something beautiful. It just doesn't work that way.
Yeah. No, I think the money is always a byproduct, right,
Yeah.
of the service.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to leadership, I mean, Phil, you are just an incredible human being and just, one of a kind leader, right? What are some of the things you do for your peeps which you feel like no one else in the field is really doing?
Well, I mean, I don't know if anyone else is doing it, but I would say that I care in a way that I probably shouldn't. It probably is not good for me to care about my people as much as I honestly do within my heart. And I live by this idea that like once you're in, you're in. You know, once you're in, like I'm yours. I got you. I will sacrifice for you. I will fight for you. I'm in. Once you're in, I'm in. Now here's what I won't do. I won't fight harder for you than you're willing to fight for you. Because I've got 3 people in my life, my wife, my son, my daughter, who I have to fight harder for them than they will. But everyone else, I will match your effort. And some people will say, Phil, why are you doing that? Because they are. Yeah, but that's for them. I know. And my purpose on earth is to serve. And therefore, I'm going to match that effort that they are putting out. So I think that, listen, here's the thing. That's why it hurts so bad when people leave. Because I'm so connected. I'm so in with them. But you just got to realize that your mission is not everyone else's mission all the time. So, yeah.
And, that's hard for some of the leaders, the all-in leaders. I certainly struggle with it as well myself. But how do you balance that out where, you want to go all in, like you're ready to go, but they maybe not? Like, how do you hold yourself back?
I don't. So what I do is I listen. When I say I listen, is I tell people all the time, I want 100% of the percent you're willing to put in. So if you tell me you're a 30% person, great. You're a 30%, give me 100% of your 30%. If you're an 80% person, give me 100% of your 80%. I'm not going to ask you for 81%. I'm not going to ask you for 35%. I just want 100% of the percent you committed to. If you're not willing to do that, then you told me you're not a person of your word, so it doesn't matter. We shouldn't be working together anyway. But if you just say, Phil, this is as much as I'm willing to give, and I'll give all of that, I'm good. Because my agents, my staff, their job is not to accomplish my mission. That is my job. I'm put here to accomplish my mission. They're put here to accomplish their mission. So what I want to do is do my best to make their mission and my mission align. But ultimately, man, I just want every piece of what you give in the first place.
Yeah.
So,
well, guys, this was awesome. I'm super thankful. I mean, I learned a lot out of this myself. Phil, before I release you out of this, because I know you gotta go, what are some of the last words would you like to share with the viewers?
You've probably heard me say serve and service a lot. And I think that there's 2 approaches that people receive when they hear me share. And the one is like, this guy just loves service and loves helping. And you're right, I do. But the other approach is it can't really be that. It can't be just that simple. I'm telling you, it's that simple. If you put the mission in front of the dollar, it all works out. If you say every opportunity I have to serve and bless somebody else, I'm going to take, everything else works out. So build your business, your life, your future. My advice, build these parts of yourself in a fashion that says, how do I give, serve, bless? And everything just like it magically, seemingly magically falls into place. Opportunities open up that you didn't even know were there. But it's because you're doing the work and it works.
It was good.
It
was good. Yeah. Well, guys, if you love this, like this, give us the hearts, give us the likes,
I want them,
and give us some comments because we're gonna go back and we'll answer the questions for sure. So, peace out, guys.
Thank you.
Good to see everyone.
See ya.